Which Week 18 NFL spreads are must bets? Welcome, football fans, gridiron gamblers, and all of my degenerates. It's Mitch here for the final time this regular season, the 5 must bets of the week. My 5 favorite spread picks of week 18. If that sounds good, you know what to do. It's absolutely free. Show your love and Gronk. Spike the like button. Don't be a jabroni. And subscribe to Money Mitch for money-making picks in the playoffs. For unrivaled, unmatched NFL analysis and deep dives into these playoff matchups in January and beyond, I recommend that you subscribe. It's free, man. And also, if you're wondering, Mitch, where can I get your picks? Where can I get your actual bets that you make with your real money? Your YouTube money? Well, bro, you can get it on Patreon. Link in the description. It's just $5 a month. You can support me as a personality, as a content creator, and you can also get all of my bets for just $5 a month. And I'm pretty sure you'll make more than $5 with my bets. Just throwing that out there. But let's get to the picks. Get in the comments and let me know your opinion if you agree or disagree with any of my picks. I like to hear the reasoning. Let's kick it off with a Saturday night pick. The NFC number 1 seed on the line. The Seattle Seahawks on the road at the San Francisco 49ers. Unique motivation here for the 49ers. If they win this game, they get the number 1 seed. They get home field in the divisional round. Maybe the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl, because the Super Bowl 60, is in Santa Clara, their home stadium. So, San Francisco could be the first team ever to have the number 1 seed and host the Super Bowl. It's pretty crazy. But I like the 49ers, plus 2.5. Not really for that reasoning, although it helps. But I feel like this is a special team. I feel like this is a unique team. And I love Kyle Shanahan as an underdog. I think that he is by far and away right now the best coach in the NFL. I think he's only been rivaled over the last 5 or 6 years by Andy Reid. And I think that right now, he's head and shoulders the best coach in the league. And honestly, entering the playoffs, if I were to bet on any individual, it would not be Josh Allen. It would not be Lamar Jackson. It would not be Sean McVay or Matthew Stafford or even Drake May. It would be Kyle Shanahan. Because he's gone to 2 Super Bowls with 2 different quarterbacks. He has been to 4 NFC championships. One of them was kind of stolen away from him because both his quarterbacks got hurt nearly on the first series of the game. And he has won as an underdog. He has won as a favorite in the playoffs. This is another playoff game for the 49ers. That's exactly what they played last week. They won against an impressive Bears team. And I think they'll win again here. First of all, I think San Francisco is the best offense in football. And they won't have Trent Williams here in this game, most likely. He is a game-time decision. But I do believe they'll have everyone else who is questionable for this game, including George Kittle, including Ricky Pearsall, including Keon White, or whoever else you want to throw on the list. I think everyone but Trent Williams will play, including a returning Renardo Green, who is an underrated corner for them. He is arguably their most talented corner on their team. I know Lenore gets a lot of the headlines, but Green is a good player as well, and he really helps ensure that they can play in that secondary and might be able to play more man-to-man coverage in this game on critical third downs. Now, I'll explain why that's important in just a little bit. I want to start here with San Francisco's offense, though, because this is the reason I'm backing them. I don't think people truly realize how good this Niners offense is right now. I know that Trent Williams is hurt, but I kind of feel like the 49ers offensive line has been playing very, very well for most of the year. They've been protecting two different quarterbacks, and yet this offense has been on fire pretty much all year, but especially as of late with a healthy and mobile Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy's twitchiness, I would call it, quickness, puts this offense over the top from a playmaking standpoint, from a gamer standpoint. And his ability to extend plays could be a key trait in this game. The Seahawks, they have a good pass rush and a good defensive line, but it is very much made up of big bodies that aren't exactly quick or fast. They don't have a lot of speed. And I do think that Brock Purdy getting outside the pocket, scrambling or moving or play action boots could be a major deal in this game. I also think critical third down, second down scrambles to make third down manageable will be a big part of this game. But I think the uniqueness of the Niners offense and the very varied ways that they can attack the defense is critical in this game. Christian McCaffrey, like how are the Seahawks going to cover him? I would make an argument that Seattle's weakest position in their coverage is their linebacker position. I do think that Ernest Jones is a good linebacker, but primarily in run defense and primarily as a zone dropper. He's not a guy that can one-on-one cover a Christian McCaffrey, right? And I don't know who the answer is there for Seattle if they want to play man. Is it going to be Eamon? Is it going to be Julian Love? How do they go about that matchup? Witherspoon, because they got to pick their spots and pick their matchups. Seattle played a lot of man in week one, a game that San Francisco kind of dominated more than the score would have suggested. But week one was a far ways away. Just to kind of go back to those picks or to that week and why I'm picking here. You look back at that matchup and the 49ers had 250 more yards. They had 10 more first downs. They were the more penalized team, 9 penalties to 4. They were 50% on third down. They were 2 for 2 on fourth down. The only reason the game wasn't a decently sized victory, they had 15 minutes of possession more than Seattle. The only real reason that wasn't a blowout is because Jake Moody was still the kicker and he missed 2 field goals. Brock Purdy made 2 egregious turnovers, which were, I believe, both in San Francisco territory, if I'm not mistaken. Both teams had 2 turnovers each. That game, of course, had Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. That game didn't have George Kittle, though. And George Kittle in that game went right down the field and scored a touchdown. It was the first drive of the season, and the San Francisco 49ers scored a touchdown. George Kittle scored the touchdown, if I'm not mistaken. And George Kittle will be a critical factor in this game. Seattle is actually bottom 5 against tight ends in the NFL this season. This could be a big spot for Tonjes, who scored a touchdown, to win that game in week 1. For George Kittle, who scored a touchdown in week 1. For them to dominate the middle of the field. For Christian McCaffrey to dominate the middle of the field. And like I said, I don't see the matchup on McCaffrey. I think it's going to be difficult based on their numbers for them to cover George Kittle and Jake Tonjes. Even Kyle Juszczyk at times might make a couple plays. But then Reek Witherspoon also really struggled out wide with Ricky Pearsall in week 1. Ricky Pearsall is a really great route runner and can run like double moves. He's really good at the top of routes. He's really quick and laterally very explosive. And I think he's going to be hard for them to cover. The only real matchup I feel like Seattle can dictate is possibly the run game. And possibly can they get pressure up the interior of the pocket. But I think Purdy against a lot of zone, which Seattle faces, the way that Kyle is just like spacing out defenses, shredding defenses with different concepts, having guys running against zone coverage. I just kind of think that they're going to be able to control the ball. Their run game has been so improved over the last few weeks. McCaffrey's been running really well. They gashed the Colts, who are a really good run defense. They ran the ball exceptionally well against Chicago, who's not a good run defense. Seattle's one of the best run defenses. But I look at the Niners, and as long as they can get like 3 yards a carry, 4 yards a carry every once in a while, like just to give them enough breathing room on early downs and occasionally convert a short yardage with CMC, who's just playing so well with his vision and his cuts and his balance and his power. And then that short passing game to complement it. The big screen calls on third down in 2-minute situations. Kyle is just so dialed in right now. I feel like he's just so dialed. Brock Purdy is so dialed. The way they're connecting, the way that they're vibrating right now, like on this just heater. It's just, as good as Seattle's defense is, and I think they are good. I don't think they're going to be able to stop the Niners the way that some people do. I just think that because they have such unique playmakers, a big receiver over the middle like Jawan Jennings, a nice route runner on the perimeter like Ricky Pearsall, an incredible dual threat running back, an insanely good tight end, another complimentary tight end, the multi-personnel packages they can put you in, Brock Purdy's legs on top of that. Like, they just have so many ways. Plus, they're at home, which they don't have the benefit, Seattle, of crowd noise or anything playing in Seattle. And you look at what the Rams did to the Seahawks. Like, the Rams put up 581 yards against Seattle. And that was a Seattle healthy defense. Like, I think people are just kind of overlooking that. The only offense I would look at in the league to say that is as good as the 49ers right now, the Niners are on pace currently of putting up historic numbers. Like, the only offense in the league that rivals them is the Rams. And the Rams put up nearly 600 yards. Now, the Rams and the 49ers are different. I think the Rams have a more consistent run game than the Niners. I think the Rams clearly have Puka Nacua, who is different. And Matthew Stafford is more of a vertical thrower of the football. But I think the Niners are much better in terms of like dinking, dunking, controlling the ball, the plethora of weapons they can attack you with rather than just one or two. Like, I think that the Rams are more saturated in their weaponry. But 581 yards, like, who else has Seattle really played on offense that really scares them, right? Seattle is a very good defense, again, but everyone's talking about who have the 49ers played. Like, who have the Seahawks played that's offensively good? Like, lately, like Carolina doesn't faze me. Phillip Rivers, that game was close, by the way. So, and you look at how Seattle's offense is playing. An offense that won't have Charles Cross, who's their best offensive lineman. That could be key for like third downs and second and longs, and Bryce Huff rushing against a backup tackle. That could be just enough pass rush that the 49ers need that they didn't get against arguably the best offensive line in the league in Chicago. Like, Chicago really has an excellent offensive line. I don't think people really understand that. And San Francisco's been stopping the run. Like, last week, the Bears didn't really want to run the ball on them, and every once in a while they hit a big run with DeAndre Swift, but mostly it was not going for much, and they had to throw the ball with Caleb Williams. And I kind of felt like that was rather Caleb making an incredible throw, him finding the right spot against the blitz, or him, or Ben Johnson just having a great play call. And when I look at Seattle, I don't have the same faith in their passing offense. I certainly don't think they're as crisp in terms of their underneath passing. I don't think they have the scheme that Ben Johnson offers. I don't think that they're as consistent. Outside of JSN, it's really been an inconsistent offense. If JSN does not have 150 yards, which he could, their run game is mediocre at best. It's not Chicago's, which is one of the best in the league, right? Their offensive line, their protection, mediocre at best, especially without Charles Cross. The interior O-line has kind of been all year. Will Salah have some curveballs in this game that allow them to get the upper hand, like a couple blitzes on third down? I would really press the middle of the pocket. And you're not supposed to coach your bets, but I'm putting myself in the mind of one of the smartest defensive coordinators in the league. He's probably going to know what to do here, right? We saw what they did in week 1 and how they were able to handle an offense that they know very well, right? Kubiak and Shanahan, that's a tale as old as time. Shanahan basically tutored this guy, the offensive play caller of Seattle, on how to call plays, how to approach offense. Beyond his father, Kyle is probably the biggest influence on his offensive philosophy. So you look at just like the inherent advantage that Shanahan and Salah have over the coaching staff of Seattle, especially on the offensive side of the ball. The way that Seattle is moving the football, specifically in first halves, scoring 3 points against Carolina, scoring under, what they have against the Colts. That game was a grind. They had 6 points against Atlanta. It was tied 6-6, right? So you just look at how Seattle has been really rough in the first halves. What if San Francisco has a couple good drives based on some nice schematical tweaks? They get a couple 3-and-outs. San Francisco gets the ball. They score a couple touchdowns, and all of a sudden, San Francisco's up 14-3 in the second quarter, and the game could be over. If San Francisco can just, keep running the ball and controlling the clock, and then Sam Darnold's pressing the issue, he's throwing the ball to the other team. We know how Sam Darnold has been in these games. Like, Last year, he was in this exact scenario against a beat-up, battered, bruised defense in the Detroit Lions on the road, and he laid an egg and he pissed himself. Like, I could very well see the 49ers leaping out to a lead and crushing Seattle because it's just a bad game script. I mean, the Rams could have easily done that if not for a special teams touchdown. San Francisco's special teams is much, 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 much better than the Rams. You know, that's part of the difference in this matchup. So, San Francisco may have not a very talented defense, but they do have a schematically sound defense. They will know the Seattle offense really well. Seattle's offense is not an above average unit right now. It's not playing that way. It hasn't played that way since like week 10, week 9. You know, the people are looking at their points for and their season-long statistics where they were really good in the middle of the year and really good at the beginning of the year. They haven't been that offense for a while. Darnold has been shaky. He has 9 touchdowns, 9 interceptions his last like 9 or 8 games. So I think San Francisco is playing well at the right time offensively. They are a well-oiled machine. They can run the ball better than they have all year. They can throw the ball to a plethora of players. They have multiple, I think, perimeter matchups that they can take advantage of. I think they're going to be able to control the time of possession. I think that the Niners will be able to slow down the Seahawks from running the ball. I think that San Francisco will put the ball in Sam Darnold's hands, and I don't think that Kubiak and Darnold can perform like Caleb and Ben did last week. I think that San Francisco, and again, this is all my opinion, guys, San Francisco is the team to ride here, plus 2.5. Kyle Shanahan as an underdog. You gotta love it every time. And I think the 49ers win this game, and I think they become the number 1 seed. I love getting 2.5 in this spot because this game very well could be a 2 or 3 point game. It could be 23-20. It could be 24-21. It could be, even if the Niners lose, 23-21. You know, it could be something like that. So I don't hate it at all. But I think if the Niners score 24 points or more, I think they're very likely to win this game, and I think they will. So give me San Francisco plus 2.5 as our first bet. It's not the best bet because they're on Saturday. I wanted to put them first. It's the most time sensitive, but this game could go either way. I just really like how San Francisco is looking on offense. I love how Brock Purdy's playing compared to Sam Darnold. I love the coaching advantage. And I think San Francisco is a special team with a lot of big game experience. I can't say the same about Seattle. The Dallas Cowboys are going to be my next pick, minus 3.5. This is also getting closer to 3. So I would hold out to see if they lay a 3 here, but I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Now, there are some injuries for Dallas. Siobhan Revel, their starting rookie corner, is out. Demarion Overshone has a concussion. Their linebacker is out. Malik Davis and Javonte Williams, their running backs, are out. So some running backs and 2 starters on defense. But for the Giants, they have a lot of injuries too that people are overlooking. Cardale Flott might be their best perimeter corner this year. He's out. Javon Holland, their best safety, is out. Theo Johnson, their tight end, is out. Nunez Roches, maybe their best run defender, or one of them, is out. Wan'Dale Robinson is also out, apparently. I didn't actually know that until I just looked. I don't know how this spread is only 3.5. Unless Dak Prescott gets pulled in the first quarter, I would hammer this. Like, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Cowboys mostly healthy offensive line against an overrated Jackson Dart, no Wan'Dale Robinson, and no Theo Johnson. Who's playing receiver for the Giants? Who's playing wide receiver for them? Like, I don't get it. And Quinnen Williams appears to be playing. Kenny Clark, Adigi Zua. The defensive front, Dante Fowler, they're all playing as far as I know. Ezeraku. I haven't seen anything to suggest that the Dallas Cowboys will not be trying in this game. I haven't seen anything to suggest that this game should be a 3-point spread. Like, the Giants are one of the worst teams in the league. They won last week against the Raiders by a big score because the Raiders don't care. They're trying to lose on purpose. Like, I'm actually just going to confirm here that the Cowboys... I'm going to look it up on Twitter. Like, I have no idea. This is actually puzzling to me why this spread is so close. Like, I don't get it. I think Jerry Jones is going to want his guys to go out there and finish. The Cowboys can't really benefit greatly from any sort of spot in the draft. Like, the team that does here is the Giants. So to me, I don't get this game at all. Like, I think that this should be like 6. Like, there's a huge discrepancy between my opinion on this game and the spread itself. Like, Dak is going to shred the secondary without a starting safety and a starting corner. The Giants don't have 2 of their best weapons. What do they have other than Tyrone Tracy running the football and Jackson Dart running the football? Like, Darius Slayton? Like, what? I don't get it. I really don't get it. And it's not like the Dallas Cowboys offensive line is bad. They should be able to protect Brian Burns and Abdul Carter. Dak's really good decision maker. I think this is a totally wrong spread. I'm not going to lie. Like, I like Dallas here to win like 34-20. Like, I think they're decisively better than the Giants. I think the Giants are one of the worst teams in the league. I don't know. I don't know why this spread's only 3.5, 3. I mean, it's actually shaded towards 3. So, yeah, guys, looking at the injuries and stuff, I don't get it. I really haven't understood the Giants spreads all year, though. It's not like the Giants have been a good team. It's not like they're really even a darling. Like, I don't know. It's 3.5 minus 105 where I'm looking. Unless Dallas just stops playing players, I don't know how they don't cover this spread. Because I think they'll have enough on defense here. Their defense isn't the reason you're betting on them anyways. As long as they get a couple stops against a no-name receiving core, they should be fine. So, yeah, Dallas minus 3.5, I'll say, is the bet for our second pick. For our third pick, another one that just I don't understand based on the injuries and stuff, why this is only what it is. I guess it's a divisional game, and the Saints are playing really well, but the Saints have a ton of injuries, and the Saints are not a particularly talented team. Like, I really do like Tyler Shuck. I think that Tyler Shuck is the real deal. I think he's the best quarterback in this class. I think he's a franchise quarterback. But guys, let's look at who they've faced and who they've beaten on this 4-game win streak. Tampa, who's losing to everybody. Carolina, okay, that's a pretty good win, but they beat Carolina before. They beat them 17-7 and 20-17. That's a good matchup for the Saints. 29-6, they beat the Jets, worst team in the league, and they beat Tennessee 34-26 after trailing for a majority of the game. The last time they played Atlanta, they lost by 14 at home. Kirk Cousins also played in that game. Now let's look at what the Saints have to offer. Brian Brzee is out, defensive lineman. Alvin Kamara, running back, is out. Chris Olave, best weapon, wide receiver, is out. Nathan Shepard, their defensive tackle, is out. So they're missing 2 interior defensive linemen. They're missing their running back. They're missing their number 1 receiver. They also, I believe, are missing Vele, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was put on IR. I'm just going to check their depth chart. They have been missing Eric McCoy at center, and that's been one of their biggest problems is interior pressure that they've been seeing time after time. Tyler Shuck feels like he gets sacked 3 or 4 times a game. Like, yeah, so their receiving core is Kevin Austin Jr., Dante Pettis, and Mason Tipton. That is their receiving core, and Jawan Johnson. Their running back is Audric Estime, who is on a practice squad. They don't have their starting center. I don't know. Like, I look at Atlanta, and Atlanta, meanwhile, Clark Phillips is out. Everyone else is questionable. Dorless is also out, their D tackle, who had a good game on Monday night. But their defense is good, man. And this is the thing with New Orleans. You look at New Orleans' success lately. New Orleans has been pass first, right? 30, 40 attempts a game. Like, Tyler Shuck's been putting up 300 yards, 270. You know, that's been their game plan. Atlanta's really good against the pass. We saw that against the Rams, right? They're weaker against the run. And the Saints can't run the ball. They have Audric Estime. Their O-line isn't very good in the run game. The Atlanta pass defense is really good. Like, they can get some pressure with different blitzes, a plethora of coverages. They create turnovers. They create havoc. They get sacks. Jesse Bates, Caden Ellis over the middle at linebacker. The way that Xavier Watts is playing, the way AJ Terrell is playing, like, it does look like Mike Hughes is going to play, I think. I I don't know, man. I think Atlanta is a lot more talented. Atlanta's at home. Atlanta has more to play for a couple of reasons. They don't have their first round pick. Their coach has a possibility to be fired. Kirk Cousins is still looking for a job next season, maybe in Atlanta, maybe somewhere else. And they could eliminate Tampa with a win, which is some sort of motivation that New Orleans doesn't have. I don't think New Orleans is that talented. I think a lot of this has been on the back of Shuck, who's been really good, but he doesn't have Chris Olave. He doesn't have Vele. He doesn't have Kamara. He doesn't have his center. The defense is good, but Bijan is going to get plays. Kyle Pitts is going to make plays. Drake London's going to make plays. Atlanta's just too talented to shut down. The Saints play a lot of zone. I think that will make Kirk Cousins comfortable to throw the ball underneath and dink and dunk his way down the field. And Atlanta won the first game on the road by 14. Like, to me, 3.5, this is just not priced correctly. I think the Falcons are clearly the better team, and everything about the health of the team says the same thing. So I would go with Atlanta -3.5, -3. Hopefully it's 3. The next game, the Chicago Bears, -3, maybe even 2.5 at home. I like Chicago here. I think this is a story of, again, Detroit being mispriced. Detroit has been poorly priced for a majority of the season as the team that they were 2 years ago, that they're no longer. Also, there's a number of injuries for Detroit. Alex Anzalone, out. Tristan Colon, out. Thomas Harper, out. Elie McNeil, out. Penei Sewell, out. Amon-Ra, questionable. Guys, they have a skeleton unit out there in this game. This should be like 6. I mean, so their best tackle is out. Their other tackle hasn't participated at practice all week. Taylor Decker, he didn't play last week. Their best interior lineman is out. Their 3 best safeties are out. Their best linebacker, or their second best linebacker, is out. I have no idea how this game is 3. Chicago, meanwhile, they're going to get back. Rome Odunze is questionable, so potentially Rome Odunze. It does look like Luther Burden is going to play, and Zacchaeus is going to play. So they're going to get more receivers than they had against Detroit, or against San Francisco, against Detroit. Ben Johnson has inherent knowledge of the team, of course, but then also like inherent motivation. Chicago, they lost 52-20 in the first time they played Detroit. And I think there's going to be like a motivation for Chicago to win their division, right? They've won their division now, but they could be the 2 seed with this win. They could play the Packers in round 1, which they'd much rather play than the Rams, the Niners, or the Seattle Seahawks. Detroit is a team that was looked at as the bigger brother, the top team in the division. What if they could just hammer them in this game and truly make a statement? Like, that to me, I think there's a lot to be said about that. And Chicago's healthier. I think that you look at the way Jared Goff's playing, the way Jared Goff plays in the cold. He's playing in Chicago in this game. Amon-Ra's beat up. The O-line is beat up. Everyone's getting pressure on Goff. Goff's dirting the ball left and right, not playing well. The Detroit defense can't really stop the run. They can't really stop the pass. They play too much man coverage. Caleb can run all over them. Like, I don't really see how this is a game. I honestly don't. Like, yeah, everyone wants to talk about how Detroit is going to pull off this underdog upset. Man, I don't see it. Like, I think Chicago's offensive line is awesome. I think Chicago's offense is really good. I think Chicago's defense is opportunistic. I think Chicago's defense is well schooled. They just took on San Francisco. You know, San Francisco is a juggernaut on offense. So, I don't get it, man. I really don't. I think Chicago, again, another one I don't get. I think this should be way, way worse than it is, spread-wise. So, Dallas, Atlanta, Chicago, I just inherently don't understand these spreads. Like, they don't make sense. First of all, Chicago has actual motivation to win this game. You know, the other games you could make an argument that there is no real motivation for Atlanta or Dallas. I can understand that. But with Chicago, it's like, if they win, they're the 2 seed, and they get a possible 2. They would get 2 games at home in the playoffs, which is much better for a home team than going on the road, right? So there's a big, big deal here for Chicago. Okay, now, the final best bet, and this is interesting, I like the Rams -8.5. I want to say, though, that this is tricky because the Rams have suggested, Sean McVay has actually said that they're going to play all their players. But the thing is, if San Francisco wins, then, which I think is going to happen, if San Francisco wins, then there is no advantage for the Rams playing their players other than getting ready for the playoffs. And Sean McVay has always been a coach that rests his players. So that is a bit puzzling to me. That being said, I think that this is simply a game that the Rams cannot lose. And I think there's a chance they blow out the Cardinals. It does look like Kevin Dotson will be out another week. Quentin Lake will be out another week. He'll be back for the playoffs. Otherwise, it looks like everyone else is going to play. Maybe their left tackle will be out, but we'll see. Obviously, that was big. Devontae Adams limited. I don't think he'll play, but we'll see. The Cardinals have a lot of injuries. Josh Sweat is limited, questionable. Marvin Harrison is out. Calais Campbell hasn't practiced, but he wasn't ruled out. Evan Brown is out. And I think the biggest discrepancy here, or the biggest advantage, is Arizona's offensive line and the Rams' defensive line. The Arizona O-line is horrible right now. The Bengals had 4 sacks against the Cardinals last week. Now imagine what the Rams are going to do with their defensive front. This offensive line has Josh Fryer at left tackle, John Gaines II at left guard, Froholt at center, Isaiah Adams at right guard. Neither are great. And then Calvin Beachum at right tackle, who's a swing tackle. This is a terrible offensive line with an immobile quarterback, no run game. Michael Carter is their starting running back. No legitimate downfield receiver. Michael Wilson, that's it. Greg Dortch is not on the team right now. He's hurt. Marvin Harrison is out. Their receivers are Xavier Weaver, Michael Wilson, and Jalen Brooks. And they have Trey McBride. So other than Trey McBride, what do the Rams have to defend? Like, honestly, they're going to get pressure with 4. They're going to get heat on Jacoby Brissett. They're going to get a lot of stops. And against this defense that's allowing 40 points every second game, I don't know how the Rams don't put up points with a motivated Matthew Stafford who tossed his MVP chances away to Drake May on Monday Night Football. They probably want to get Stafford feeling like he's in a good place, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, and the entire offense feeling good going into the playoffs, right? Like, the Cardinals are slightly healthier in the secondary than they've been. Budda Baker looks like he's going to play, but it's not like it's a good defense, you know? It's not like it's a good defense. So I don't get this. Like, the Cardinals have been, again, destroyed in every game the last, month. They're a terrible football team. They're, the worst team that I think is still priced as a mediocre team. They lost by 23 to Cincinnati. They lost to Atlanta by 7. They lost by 20 to Houston. The last time they played the Rams, they lost by darn near 30 points. They lost to Tampa. That was the only team Tampa has beaten. They lost by 20 to San Francisco, 20 to Seattle. They're not a good team. And they've allowed 41, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 times over the last 8 games. They allowed 45 to the Rams last time they played. 530 yards. So, yeah, the Rams are probably going to be up 24-7 at halftime, and you're going to cover the spread. So, 8.5 is just not enough points. I think this should be closer to double digits, although it's actually tilted towards 8. Even if Jimmy Garoppolo comes in this game in the 3rd and 4th quarter, I'm not convinced he wouldn't score touchdowns. He's a solid backup in this offense. So, yeah, give me the Rams minus 8.5. I think they win this game by double digits, and that will be my 5th and final best bet. I almost made the Ravens a best bet, but now it's getting closer to 4. I just don't like laying that many points in a Steelers-Ravens game. There's just too much familiarity between the two teams, although I do like the Ravens. So, best bets, Niners, Cowboys, Falcons, Bears, and Rams. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, Gronk spike the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. It's Mitch. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.